Yamcha can't sell any of universe, bro. He cannot solo no universes. It's Yamcha. Yamcha is trash. Yamcha will forever be garbage. It's flipping Yamcha, bro. Like, what do you expect? I want to see his arguments.
Yamcha is often treated as the butt of the joke by Dragon
Because he is the butt of the joke. That's what he deserves to be like the trash character he is.
Ball fans. But even though he's not the strongest character in the story, how strong is he?
Headphones are bad.
Especially
Okay.
compared to other verses. Can Yamcha solo your favorite verse?
No, you can't. No, you can't. No, he could definitely cannot, bro. Please. He's not even he's a Cyberman level. Please. Anybody can be the Cyberman. Come on.
The biggest issue with scaling Yamcha is, ironically, the thing people have a problem with. He's not used enough. There really aren't that many feats for him after a certain point. For comparison, Yamcha actually beats more people in a single chapter of the Moro arc than the entirety of Dragon Ball after.
Oh, I forgot about the Moro arc. How did I forget about the Moro arc where he actually fought like in what decades? So hold on. He might actually have a point. He could have a point. I think Yamcha can solo a universe. If you're using Moro arc Yamcha.
The Saiyan saga. In the manga, Yamcha legit only has 3 fights post Saiyan saga, if you exclude training, and they're barely even fights. Yamcha fought a Cyberman, Android 20, and a Cell Jr.
He did not fight. Okay, I think the Cell Jr. might have to be like filler game. There is no way Yamcha is competing with a Cell Jr. There is no way, bro. I think this was anime only. I don't think this was manga. Yamcha probably got cooked by the Cell Jr. and he died by Android 20. There's no way he went up against him. He's not that strong. Please.
The Android 20 fight barely even counts as a fight. Meanwhile, Yamcha has multiple fights in the Moro arc, and actually...
I do agree with the Moro arc, though. The Moro arc, in the Moro arc, he could actually... I think he could win. I do think in the Moro arc, like, he stands a chance. I do believe it's here.
Beats 3 Galactic Patrol prisoners at once on one page. But I digress. It's not impossible to scale him. It's just going to be a little bit tougher than normal. We'll scale him 2 ways here. First, using a composite of the Dragon Ball Super anime and manga, disregarding filler.
I think you have to not use the anime though, because sometimes the anime messes up the manga. So like the best example of this is actually Vegito. Like Vegito, like yeah, you've seen base Vegito fight Boo, right? But in the manga that actually never happened. Like in the manga he went straight to Super Saiyan, then he fought Boo. But so like that the anime got that wrong. Like base Vegito versus Majin Buu never actually happened. Um That's another thing. You might have to just use the manga only because the manga is accurate. Anime is inconsistent sometimes.
As well as, of course, the original manga. And then for the second one, we'll do a Toei anime-only version of him from Dragon Ball Z, disregarding the manga and only using what's shown in the anime because it is very different in terms of scaling. Including or excluding filler and using Toei's content is a big distinction here. So let's start with the first option, a loose composite where we look at only the Dragon Ball manga, Dragon Ball Super manga, and Dragon Ball Super anime. For the most part, it's just the 2 manga series though. And we'll start pretty early on, particularly looking at where Yamcha scales in the Z arcs and then working our way up to Super. So in the Saiyan saga,
Bro, Dragon Ball Z was so tough, bro. Bro, look how tough everybody look in Dragon Ball Z compared to Dragon Ball Super, bro. Like look at this. Look at the seriousness in Goku's face right now. Look at this, man. Like this looks tough, and they look brawling, amazing, serious. Like this right here is just straight aura, man. Dragon Ball Z. Nobody was a silly gag character. Nobody was stupid. Animation was kind of clean. Yes, it was in the 90s, but it was more like kind of toned down. Here it just looked. This is like Dragon Ball superhero on the right, just like look like a hot kitty slap of garbage, bro. Like, look how kitty they look. Look at Vegeta's face. They literally messed it up. They literally messed up Vegeta's face here. Gosh, bro. Gosh, I miss Dragon Ball Z, gang. I wish we could go back over there. I wish we could go back to Dragon Ball Z, gang. I wish.
Particularly looking at where Yamcha scales in the Z arcs and then working our way up to Super. So, in the Saiyan saga, he beat a Cyberman. A lot of people forget he actually won this battle because, while he ended up dying, he let his guard down, and the Cyberman needed to blow himself up entirely in order to even kill Yamcha. Yamcha is still stronger than the Cyberman. Daizenshu 7 lists Yamcha's power.
Oh, yeah, I think Yamcha is stronger, yeah. Yeah, Yamcha is stronger than a Cyberman, I remember. Because, yeah, he was caught off guard. Yeah, he did. He did get blown up. Yeah, he's right. He got a point. He got a point.
At a level of 1480, which is almost Raditz' exact power level of 1500 in the same guidebook. Scaling him is pretty easy. You just base it off of Raditz. People often point to one guide that says scaling him is pretty easy. You just base it off of Raditz.
So he's actually lower than Raditz. Yo, you're telling me you're sitting there telling me that Yamcha's lower than Raditz? Hey, Yamcha was just weak, is he?
People often point to one guide that says a power level of 10,000 is needed to destroy a planet, but that is very inaccurate in the story itself. Roshi was able to blow up the moon during the 21st World Tournament, and his power level there was around 139, if we assume that's an accurate estimate. And then Piccolo later on in the Saiyan saga after Raditz very casually blew up the moon. Without getting too deep into it, power levels don't scale linearly. But even if you want to go into the assumption that they do, Raditz is still over 10 times stronger than Roshi, which equates to way more than 10 times the power because of the non-linear scaling. Plus, there's a ton of
If Raditz is stronger than Roshi, how come Roshi is able to use Ultra Instinct and all of his extra abilities? Remember, Roshi went up against Jiren. Yes, it wasn't really much of a fight, but Roshi literally went up against Jiren using Ultra Instinct. So it, I don't know. I do think Roshi could probably be Raditz. Don't get me wrong. It's not gonna be easy for him, but he probably could win.
things that support him being this level because Dragon Ball's Earth is larger than normal Earth, the power of Roshi's moon-busting feat actually can be calculated to be higher than moon level, Saiyans like Raditz are meant to be able to destroy planets, and Yamcha has a power level over 10 times Roshi's as well. You could make a whole video about the scaling of early Dragon Ball there, but
Gosh, bro, Dragon Ball Super, bro. I'm so glad it's getting a
over
remake.
10 times Roshi's as well. You could make
But gosh, look at this, bro. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. The animation is terrible. It's a bunch of AI slop. Like, ew.
a whole video about the scaling of early Dragon Ball there, but to keep things short here and not go
Just ew,
off on a
bro.
tangent, all of that together makes
Wait, what? Okay.
Raditz comfortably large planetary with relativistic speeds, and that translates over to Yamcha, who's around the same level of power.
If you got sued for it,
Okay, yeah, here's the thing. Recording videos instead of streaming videos doesn't help me get rid of ads, okay?
That's a really solid baseline. And even though some of these power levels are just in guidebooks and not in the actual series, it still tracks with what's actually shown there, and just regular chain scaling puts Yamcha to this point. So, it sets a good floor for him, but after this his feats are a lot more sparse. In the Android saga, Yamcha showed up to fight the androids. Everyone here was told not to bother coming if they weren't capable of fighting.
Okay, fight the androids, please. They're not actually fighting the androids. Yamcha got cooked. Oh, Android 17 versus Frieza. Who would actually win this fight though? Android 17 or Frieza? I would actually want to know. Let me know in the comments.
Someone like Frieza. So if you really stretch it, you could argue that Yamcha scales above Mecha Frieza here, as does everyone else. But let's be more conservative. At the very least, Dr. Gero is above Frieza's level. He was very confident that he and 19 could defeat Super Saiyan Goku, and while he didn't know about Super Saiyan until this fight, this still isn't crazy. Gero has built androids that were way stronger than they needed to be, and he could read Goku's power right in front of him, so I feel like this estimate is actually still pretty fair. Not to mention Goku was weaker here because of the heart virus, but
Yeah, you can't really count that fight. It was literally the heart virus, bro.
let's assume heart virus Super Saiyan Goku is equal to Namek Super Saiyan Goku.
No, he's not. No, he's not. You cannot say that. Heart virus Goku is nowhere near Namek Goku level. Nowhere near Namek Goku level. No Namek Goku, Super Saiyan Namek Goku clears. Heart Virus Goku is nowhere near the same level. Get that? No. What type of analysis you're talking about, bro? No way.
Super Saiyan Goku on Namek, which is also consistent with them being above full power Frieza. Jiro no diffed Yamcha on
Gosh, look at Beerus' face, bro. Horrible. Look at this animation. Terrible.
Namek, which is also consistent with them being above full power Frieza. Jiro no diffed Yamcha, and in Dragon Ball you need to be at least double the power for someone to do something like this. If we assume Jiro as Android 20 is exactly equal to full power Frieza, who had a power level of 120 million, then we could roughly estimate Yamcha to cap out somewhere at like 60 million as his power level, exactly equal to where 50% final form Frieza on Namek was. If you push it, you could say he's stronger than full power Frieza, or
No, he's not. Yamcha ain't no. Nowhere near. Nowhere near, bro. Get out of here. Yamcha's not that strong, bro. What type of scaling are you doing? No. No. What type of scaling are you doing, gang?
even above Mecha Frieza. But Mecha Frieza would be the absolute cap there. I think my estimate of him being 50% final form Frieza strength is pretty accurate. Plus, it is also worth mentioning, Dr. Gero did confuse Yamcha for base Goku there, and we know Gero was overprepared considering how strong the androids were, so this is actually pretty nice for Yamcha, the fact that he was mistaken for Goku, not just because of the looks, but because of the power too. So at absolute worst, Yamcha's floor would be base Namek Goku with a power level of 3 million. A conservative range would put him at 3 million.
No. Base Namek Goku clears. No. Base Namek Goku is way stronger. No.
To 60 million as a power level. So this is good, we have a nice little range for him. And this is going to make him a lot easier to scale, particularly using that conservative estimate of him being at 50% Frieza's level. And that Frieza is large star level, with faster than light speeds. Pretty nice for Yamcha in this arc. But after this, we don't really have much in terms of feats for Yamcha, at least outside of filler stuff in Toei's version of Dragon Ball Z, which we will get to later. Though, he does get some feats way later on once we get to the Moro arc, and this is where things get interesting. In this arc, Yamcha explicitly
Okay, moral arc. Okay, this is where I think Yamcha could solo universe, because in the moral arc, yes, he was stronger. So we can use this.
states he's one of the 3 strongest Earthlings, and this is after Piccolo had trained him for 2 months in preparation for the patrol.
Okay, Piccolo trained him. Okay, perfect.
Patrol's prisoners. Yamcha actually had been training prior to, but we don't really know the true extent of that. Now, Yamcha likes to hype himself up, but he has no reason to lie here, and this sounds pretty reasonable to say that he's the 3rd strongest Earthling. Contextually, he's only referring to people like Krillin, Tien, Roshi, and Chaozu. Yes, I know Tien's potentially part alien, but contextually, he is usually included as an Earthling, while the androids and hybrid Saiyans get.
What is Tien? I don't know what Tien is, because with that third eye of his, I don't think he's a human. And he has the multi-form technique, and he has the Dodon Ray he learned from Tao Pai Pai. But Tri-Beam, 4 arms, yes, he could literally grow 4 arms. No. And a shiny chrome dome bald head. This man is not human. I don't think Tien is human. I think he's some other race.
Excluded. I guess a good way to think about it is, if you play Dokkan Battle and look at the Earthlings category there, it's all the people basically included here. That's what qualifies as an Earthling. So if Yamcha's in the top 3, logically the other top 2 would be Krillin and Tien. I doubt that Yamcha's number 2 or even number 1 because otherwise he'd say so. So it's pretty clearly him being number 3, which means he's above Roshi, but under Tien. And once more this gives us something to scale off of, particularly using the tournament.
Yeah, Krillin would always be the strongest Earthling, without a doubt. Krillin would just be the strongest. No! I think Tien might be strong. I mean, Tien's not a human. Tien is not human, bro.
Just like with Yamcha, we don't have too many feats for these two either. We saw them fight in Resurrection F, but that was against random Frieza Force soldiers, and then we just see them fight fodder in the Tournament of Power. Unlike characters like Goku or Vegeta, the humans don't wildly differ in abilities between the anime and the manga, so it's pretty reasonable to say something like manga Tien is consistent with the power of anime Tien. Not exactly the same, but close enough. Plus, once the Moro arc does get adapted in the anime, this anime scaling will probably apply anyways. Although it would be pretty embarrassing if, about like 2 years from now, we get to the scene with Yamcha and it's not in the anime, and then that makes this part of the video kinda wrong, but whatever, I digress. We're gonna still composite the anime and the manga humans. In the anime, Roshi actually overpowered Tien when his mind was controlled. This seems to have given him buffs, so the two aren't that far apart in power, because otherwise this wouldn't have been possible. Which means that any feats from either of them would be good to scale Yamcha with. The two participate in the Tournament of Power, which gives us a very general range of strength. Tien and Roshi are able to destroy pieces of the ring, and this is important. The Tournament of Powers arena is made of a material called Kachin, which is stated to be stronger than normal Kachin. Kachin is the material that Kais are able to make. Like, we see Zamasu doing this in some video games in the manga, but we also see Shin do this in the Buu saga, creating a piece of Kachin which caused Gohan to break the Z-Sword, because the Z-Sword couldn't cut through it. So that means normal Kachin is stronger than what base Buu saga Gohan is capable of, even after doing some Z-Sword training. This is starting to get us somewhere. Post Z-Sword training Gohan is relative to Goku's level and strength in each respective form. In the beginning of the Buu saga, it was shown that Gohan was actually a little bit weaker than his Cell saga.
Are you using the manga here or are you using the anime? You can't, like, the anime is inconsistent. It's not solid. You can't use that. Like that, I'm getting confused. You cannot use anime stuff like that. No. No. You have to use manga only. That probably never happened in the manga. There's no way Yamcha broke. There's no way that Yamcha broke Kachin, which is like the strongest like metal thing in Dragon Ball. There's no way he broke that in the manga because it never says that in the manga. That means it's not true. That's an anime only thing.
But after the Z-Sword training, and before his Ultimate Awakening, this Gohan should be roughly equal to Cell Saga Gohan. So now we could work backwards. That means base Buu Saga Gohan is around equal to base Cell Saga Gohan. So where
What? No, he's not. He's weaker. No, isn't he strong? No. No, he's weaker. He's weaker. He's not. No, there's no way they're not that equal. Okay, teen base Gohan is not that strong compared to a base adult Gohan, and plus you have to consider how much Gohan actually grew. Okay, like Gohan grew normally like we did, right? As you grow, as like in a normal person, as you grow, you get stronger, right? Just be as a man, right? If I grow and get older, I get stronger, right? Because it's just natural. It's a natural testosterone thing. So even if Gohan didn't train that much and only like he didn't train for 7 years, and yes, Gohan was technically still fighting Deborah, he would still be stronger than his base team form, just because, just like naturally over time, he would progress. Just naturally, he'll get stronger because of testosterone and stuff like that. You still have to consider that, though. He's not equal to base team Gohan. I don't know where you're getting this scaling from, gang, but it's making me skip this video.
Where does base Cell Saga Gohan scale? Well, that's pretty quick to find out. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in this arc, with half his power, was able to kill Cell, who's solar system level. Super Saiyan 2 is exactly 2 times stronger than Super Saiyan, so a half-power Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is just equal to Super Saiyan Gohan, which also means Super Saiyan Gohan is solar system level here. Kind of funny to think about it that way.
Getting all of them are solar system level, like, that's not saying much.
On large star level at best. So that means Kachin is at least large star level. Probably on the higher end of that tier, maybe even the lower end of solar system tier, but that's kind of pushing it. Let's say it's the high end of large star tier. We don't know how much stronger Kachin is, but if we assume it takes a couple times more power to destroy it, well, then once again, we're brushing up on solar system tier. Because in the Tournament of Power, when people destroyed this, they were doing it pretty easily, and it was mostly as side effect.
And that's Jiren! Like, you're not using Yamcha here, you're using other characters. This is Jiren! Jiren is just as strong as one of the destruction characters, as one of the destruction guys. I think he's stronger than Belmont. Like, this is Jiren, bro! You can't compare Jiren to Yamcha, like, no.
To their attacks. It's not like they had to channel all their power into it to destroy it. I guess a more apt comparison is saying that the weakest people in the Tournament Power are at very least Super Perfect Cell and Dabber level. When we're talking...
Yeah, I do... No. I don't think Yamcha's the Bora level. I don't think he is.
About people...
Especially Roshi. Oh! No. Because Roshi and them were definitely fighting characters that were way weaker than Deborah. Way weaker. I don't think that's the case.
Like Roshi and Tien, even at the low end, they are at the very least solar system level. Not to mention, Tien and Roshi have grown stronger since the Tournament of Power, alongside Yamcha. And since Yamcha falls squarely in between the two of them, he moves up alongside them. They also specifically train in preparation for Moro's crew, so their Tournament of Power strength is just a baseline. And also building upon the same comparison from before, Assuming you need to be cell level to destroy Kachikachin, their speed would scale alongside their power and make them massively faster than light, which also means Manga Yamcha is at minimum solar system tier and massively faster than light. And
I agree with that. Manga Yamcha, I agree.
that's the absolute bar for this. It's just tough to push Tien and Roshi above this because they are still lacking feats, and of course Yamcha is too. But I think this is a fair guesstimate.
Yeah, it is fair. Yamcha, Manga Yamcha's good. Manga Yamcha's good. Anything with that, I agree with.
But let's go even crazier. If you're enjoying this video so far, get right to the point. Remember how we mentioned Cell before? Well, Toei Yamcha scales above Cell. By a lot. In the Buu Saga. And this is Toei Cell we're talking about. Let me explain. In the Buu Saga, there's filler where Yamcha fought a guy named Alibu. And funny enough, he never appeared in the main story before, but in one of the more recent chapters of Dragon Ball Super, Alibu does appear there as a statue, which means he actually is a canon character. Besides the point though, just kind of funny to mention. Alibu can contend with Paikon.
Okay, never mind. This is with filler. Yeah, I might just let this play. I don't really care about the filler part. Filler is just nonsense to me. What I was really concerned about here was the no filler. But let's just see the filler.
At least when Paikon is using his weights, and Yamcha beat Alibu. So we could scale off Paikon. Paikon, with his weights on and not even trying, was able to no-diff super perfect Cell, which is really insane, because Toei Cell isn't solar system level. He's way better. First off, with speed, he has infinite speed. In the Otherworld arc, base Goku was able to travel across the entire afterlife, and it's infinite in scale. And again, he did that just in base, not long after the Cell Saga, so Cell scales above that, which means anyone stronger than base Goku here is also strong enough to be infinite speed, which includes Yamcha. In terms of power though, Cell scales above Movie 8 Broly. And this is where things get really crazy because, first of all, in Toei's timeline, the movies are actually part of what happens here. I made a whole video about that on my main Dragon Ball channel, which you could check out here. Anyways, Broly is easily universal tier. While restrained, he was able to ravage the entirety of South Galaxy. Now, some people say he didn't really quote-unquote destroy it, because some planets were still left behind, but I think that's splitting hairs. The whole place was pretty much eviscerated, and they refer to South Galaxy as destroyed throughout the entire movie. It's very clearly conveyed in the movie that Broly did this relatively quickly. Plus, it would be really bad if South Kai only found out about this after he's been doing it for like years at a time. I think the most reasonable assumption is that Broly actually did it pretty much as quickly as we saw it in the movie. Maybe not exactly within that time frame, but like definitely over a short time frame. So yes, if you want to split hairs, he probably didn't do it instantly and he didn't completely destroy everything 100%, but it's close enough to confidently say that Broly is galaxy level. Well, not really, because again, this is a restrained.
I actually might just skip this part. You know what? I'll just play it for y'all, bro. I might get up and do some later. I really don't care about the filler part. I don't care about the filler game. I was concerned about the no filler.
Broly. So no, he's not galaxy level, he's actually universal. This is because Dragon Ball galaxies in this context refer to quadrants of the universe. When we talk about north, south, east, west galaxy, whatever, that's not because Dragon Ball has 4 galaxies in Universe 7. No, these are actually quadrants of the entire universe. Each galaxy isn't really a galaxy. South Galaxy is a quarter of the universe. Broly destroyed that, while not even at his full power. And Cell's above him, and Suppressed Paikon is way above Cell. And Yamcha's above a Suppressed Paikon. So, drumroll please, Toei's Buu Saga Yamcha is high universal tier, with infinite speed. Granted, this continuity obviously doesn't apply to Dragon Ball Super.
Alright, so what's the conclusion? How many verses can Yamcha solo?
This is why I covered him separately, since the power between these two versions varies so much. Dragon Ball Super Yamcha is still really strong though, even with this conservative estimate. Personally, I believe he's even stronger because he shouldn't be extremely far away from Krillin, who you could easily push to universal tier or above. But it's really hard to justify Yamcha being that strong because he's mostly featless, particularly in the Dragon Ball Super point of the story. All that's basically to say is that I still feel like I'm lowballing Yamcha here. Who knows, maybe things will change once we get the Moro arc adapted into the Dragon Ball Super anime, and we can actually scale Yamcha more accurately. But hopefully now this gives you an idea of who he could take on, and I guess on that topic this would apply to Tien and Roshi too. Not to mention Krillin's above all of them, so this applies to him as well. And yes, I know, Yamcha is still weak in comparison to Dragon Ball's main cast, but next time you think to underestimate Yamcha, remember this. Yamcha being one of the weakest people in Dragon Ball is like being the poorest billionaire. Like yeah, if you only have $1 billion, there's still plenty of people way richer than you. But you're still a billionaire, you're still richer than so many other people. Or it's like the old saying, C's get degrees. Like, what do you call a doctor that graduates at the bottom of their class? Doctor. They still graduated. They're not the best, but they still made it to being a doctor. But what verses and what people can he actually fight?
Okay, here's an actual question. Let me see this.
Well, I'm actually going to leave that up to the comments because
Oh, come on! What they do up to the comments? Just say it.
I can't list
Just say it, bro.
every single character that ever existed here, obviously. And I'm sure a couple of anime verses probably come to mind to you guys already, so give me some interesting examples in the comments, like, spice it up a bit too. I know he could take on places like JJK or Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, you could take on them,
But think bigger, think better. Like he can mog the entirety of Invincible.
Probably My Hero Academia too, without a doubt. Alright. Yeah, I was actually expecting a list of versus Yamcha and Soul. I kind of got misled. Facts! It was clickbait. This video was kind of clickbait, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Bro, this comment right here, this comment dead got to me. I got misled, gang. We so did. Eh.